it's 2016. Out here doing special things, doing big things, doing all that kind of junk. And before I begin this, I was just gonna jump right in, but I think I need to introduce this video, right? Now this is a video probably a long time coming. But here's the thing, man. A friend of mine got riled up a whole bunch of folks in Squad 00 universe. Shout out to Universe, shout out to Squad 00. And about Zanpaktos, Shikais, Bankais, all that kind of junk. And I was like, you know what? Let me think on mine. And mine's going to be a detailed whole backstory, everything. So bear with it all. Because this junk about to be fire. This is about to be hype. And it will be able to combat ones like Shinigami X. Yo, X, man. Why your junk so hacks? But for real, though. We going in here. Wow. Long ago. What has it been? Like 2, 3, 4, 5 millennia. You know, you kind of forget how old you are after you live so many centuries. Lads and lasses. Trust me on this one, right? Back way before, you had that young blood Yamamoto come up like he's all this big stuff. Before he even saw this prodigy known as Oetsu whatever his name is, young blood Oetsu, yeah, man, and the creator of these Zanpaktos, as they're calling them these days. Before Ichibei started naming them and calling them Bankai, whatever, right? We didn't know about all that when I was growing up. We didn't know. Back then, the hollows, man. I tell you, things were way different. There wasn't that many hollows. But before I get into that, what about the human world, you may ask? Well, the human world, man. The human world. Things were a lot simpler back then. There was not many populations. There weren't many wars. So humans didn't mature into the art of war very much. So, I mean, there were martial arts, sure, but everything was basically survival. And if there were conflicts, it was conflicts over resources. You know what I'm saying? Just basic stuff. And that was sad, but it's true. And it's much better, to be honest with you, instead of just killing for no damn reason, right? So, human world was great. Our job was easy. As death gods, that's what they called us. It's death gods. It sounds so morbid, right? Pretty much, just protectors. That's all we were back then. And things went so well. Hollows, as I mentioned before, they weren't like they are now. Before the full realization of the power, of sheer raw power gained via all the cannibalization and whatnot. Before, the Vasta Lorde and the Manos and all that other stuff, right? Before all that. Things were just, you just had hollows, and they were quite animalistic, but they weren't as savage as they became. But there was a few anomalies, but there was this one especially, in my time in my travels, as more of a rogue as I was, even then. I became a greater rogue later. But I was really traveling while learning. And back in those days, the way of the sword, that's really what I was about. The way of the sword, the martial arts, a bunch of hand-to-hand combat and stuff. See, back then, we didn't know about all these powers and stuff. You had your tool, you did your job, and that was it. You protected the realms, okay? There wasn't all these politics back then. And I mean politics, and unfortunately, it was a bad form. It wasn't, us. When there was political manners, there was the clans, okay? There were the families. We took care of business. We had a community aspect. Its soul society wasn't what it's now, okay? What y'all are accustomed to. Back then, the Hollows, there was one specific one who befriended me, and we would meet. We clashed, but it was a brief encounter. He would have killed me, but he saw potential in me. He knew I was good of heart. He was a very ancient one, to say the least. He's been a lot. He's been around. He's seen a lot. And I would propose that he somehow had ascended Vasta Lorde, what we call Vasta Lorde. Now, how he got there, I don't know. We talked about many things, but we didn't talk about his anatomy. He didn't want to talk about his past. It's probably a deep, dark one. And if we meet again, I'll have to ask him. As I'm older, there's probably a lot of things he was keeping from me to protect me, as well as protect all the realms. Like me, he was about protecting the realms. He recognized the balance of power and the value of life. But let me tell you, man, this dude was so powerful. You hear about some of these youngins, Baragon's is built. Oh, please. Baragon. He would. How do you age an ageless one? Holly Bell, God bless the loss. But, man, let me tell you, that she wouldn't have stood a chance, unfortunately. This dude was just that powerful. He was that ascended. His intellect was unreal. Truly surreal. Truly surreal. You know, guys like back then, if you would have had like a Waco Mundo, because it wasn't exactly like that, but if you would have had Waco Mundo, guys, you know, these prodigies that came about, like Aizen Sosuke and Urahara Kisuke, they wouldn't have entered. They wouldn't have dared to enter into that place with a guy like him. He was just that devastating. And then, back then, the Quincy's? Oh, you're talking about some mighty warriors. If they would have went against us Shinigami, we would have got decimated. We would have got ran through and obliterated. A few of us would have survived. But they didn't. They respected. Yeah, we clashed here and there, but there was nothing to gain back then. Everything was about balance. We knew if anyone got greedy and power hungry, it would have thrown the balance off. Yes, the Quincy's went after the Hollow, but the Hollow weren't an issue, so they weren't trying to eradicate them. None of that foolishness came till later, when everything got thrown out of whack. And most of that comes why? Because of the Central 46. And I'll get into them in a bit. Now, as I aged, I was, let's say, about a millennia old or so, maybe 1,500 years. I forget. It's been a little shady with the details. It was a feudal, pretty much like what is known as what they call Japan in the human world. Feudal, very start a bunch of wars, some civil wars, and the feudal war period lasted for an ugly 250 years. It was ugly. It was ugly. It got so ugly that the Quincy's and even the ancient one I mentioned had to intervene. Treaties were made, signed, and how the Shinigami decide to handle it, they decide to come up with a structure. They decide all this with the Soul Society and the Central 46. And the ancient one, you know, and along with the Quincy Lords, they were not too thrilled about this new proposed system, so they dipped out. And the ancient one, he went to a very ancient land, far beyond the Dawn God, and into, you know, where I might have to go one day. It'll be very interesting. But anyways, I don't want to, you know, stress on too long and too morbid situations. So the Central 46, they began to establish policies that I did not agree with at all. And they were trying to limit what Shinigamis could do and this and that. They were trying to, and it became more or less racist. Very prejudiced, very ugly. And so I and some others objected. At least 4 of my friends were killed. One by assassination, one by sabotage, and others were just outright murdered in the public. 2 were hung, and just one just got decapitated by one of the heads of the power families under the guise of for the 46. I'm the only one. And so I left. I knew I wasn't powerful enough, and I left. And when I left, I made a vow never to use a sword, never to use, just, it was a blade, my blade again. Later we call it the Zanpakto, right? I decided to never use it again. I couldn't, so I broke it off. I broke the blade off. I kept the hilt as a constant reminder. But as time went on and I was hearing different things, I'm like, let me prep for things. And so I would train mainly mentally. I would train with a lot of meditation. I would put myself to very strenuous tests. And I began to see things happen with my soul and learn more about myself. And as I became more enlightened, I found out that my soul was split into 3 different fragments. And my hilt, my sword, it became what is now we call a Zanpakto. Its name is Jusan San ni Ichi Danpen, or 13 3-in-1 fragments. And it represents, see, because within me there are 3 different persons. It's not like I'm crazy on that, but it's 3 different men, if you will, that make up me. They make up who I am. They make up my soul, my essence of who I am. Over time, I developed what is called a Shikai. And communications with each of them, depending on the situation, depending on the struggle, they would overcome my body in combat if need be. If I can't handle it with my hand-to-hand combat, one of the 3 will come out. And depending on the strongest sense, either body, mind, or spirit, they will produce themselves. Now, each of these parts are part of my Shikai, okay? The first, Jokai, Kodo Kuna Okami, or Joker, Lone Wolf. He comes in a form from the hilt. My body transforms, if you will. And he wields a switchblade. He is my spirit. Different from the soul, but the spiritual connection. The spirit connects the soul with the mind and the body. The body and mind with the soul. It's like all that connection. Now the lone wolf, when he comes out, he's depressed, he's apathetic, he's extremely agile in combat. He has very precise strikes, he's defensive, he's not looking to attack you full blown, he's looking to parry, counter, and all that kind of jazz. And he looks dead. Not so much like a skeleton, but more beginning of decomposing. But at times, he could look like, a skull and mask. Moving on, we have my second representation of myself, my mind. And my mind Shikai is Tora Nan De Moya, or Tiger Jack of all trades. He wields a combat knife. And my mind, the tiger, the other one was my spirit was the lone wolf. My mind is the tiger. He's aggressive. He's highly competitive. He's passionate. Selective, powerful blows he gives off. He's not trying to, take a seat on the back burner. He's looking to end fights and end them quickly. Very, very quickly. And the third part, my body, comes in the form of Kumos, Zaru, Danzu, no Shinobi, no Shinrin, and that is a spider monkey dance of Shinobi of Force. He's a spider monkey. He's calm, stoic, calculated, balanced offense and defense, and he has matured features. Now, the spider monkey, he keeps balance between the very much competing ideologies and philosophies and mindsets of both my spirit and my tiger. Now, when things get pushed and they all come as one and my soul comes together, it unleashes what is now called Bankai. And my Bankai's name is Jusen Kawer Masen Kusari no Danketsu, or 13 unbreakable chains of unity. In my Bankai state, where my hilt was broken completely off, it is replaced with a super concentrated Reiatsu. And again, this is so much mental and control. My whole thing is about control of thyself and control of my Reiatsu, control of who I am, my essence. It's a super concentrated, the blade is a super concentrated Reiatsu katana, sharper than the original Japanese katana. Pretty much, you touch it, you're going to get cut. Body limbs will come off, pure and simple. It's not a child's toy, to say the least. And it is unbreakable. You can't chink it, My concentration of Reiatsu is too powerful in that form. My eyes turn pure black. I grow really long hair. And I become more or less a ghost, if you will, very almost transparent. You know, it's very hard to hit me. Most attacks are pretty much, if they're anything of weak Reiatsu, they'll phase right through me, pretty much. Now, I also gained the ability to fly. And I pretty much, you know, my ghost-like state, it's almost invisible to a lot of people, you know. If you have really weak Reiatsu, like humans, definitely wouldn't even be able to track me. What's called full bringers, probably not either. Weak hollows, no. Weak Quincy's, no. Anyone who's of weak Reiatsu or just weak combat prowess, they're not gonna be able to sense me. And I can fly. My 5 physical senses are heightened 100-fold in my Bankai state. My sense of perception, it becomes automatic. I don't have to think about it. It's involuntary, more or less. And it is increased 100-fold as well. So my reaction time, the world's almost looking as time, if time were still, when I'm really in full-blown concentration. I embody controlled rage in that state, and it's a complete balance between sanity and insanity. It's a bridge, my mind. Everything's about mental control, mental focus, mental concentration. And my Reiatsu just goes in fully with it. Now, the weakness, the wielder of this Bankai battles in Bankai. The longer he battles in Bankai, he may succumb to rage increasingly. If the wielder loses himself completely enraged beyond killing intent, he requires 100% focus to not lose himself in insanity. If he ever becomes insane, then he will embody chaos and death and will become totally nihilistic or view everything as pointless and become increasingly it's ridiculously volatile and ridiculously dangerous, to just say the least. Completely nihilistic. One day I may return to Soul Society and permit justice to come again. But until that time is right, I cannot endanger the world. I can't endanger this era, and I will let things play out. See how things come. But if things ever become too crazy, I'll step in. As ancient as I am, and shoot, I may in fact bring the Ancient One. And if there are any other mighty heroes of the Quincy still from that era, I'll find them too. And who knows, if there's an ancient race in that long lost, long seemingly mystical land, I'll find them and bring peace to the world once again. Unexpected Wonder, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me your thoughts. What is your Shikai? What is your Zanpakto, Shikai, Bankai? I really enjoyed making this. This was very detailed. I mean, shoot, it had me looking up Japanese words and stuff, and this is really cool, man. And hopefully more stuff to do down the line. All right, y'all. Have a beautiful day, beautiful night. Peace.